Hello all. I watched the new Red Sonja movie the other day, and the one word that sums it up is amateurish. It's very reminiscent of those bad sword and sorcery films of the 80s and displays the same lack of understanding of the genre evident in the Conan remake. In fairness, there are very few sword and sorcery films that could actually be called good, but that means the bar is set pretty low, a bar this movie fails to reach. Come on, you knew that line was coming. The movie was hamstringed from the start with a creative team who clearly didn't want to do a Red Sonja movie based on the source material. They wanted to inject their ideologies and clearly have limited skill in their respective fields. The dialogue is terrible, the story more convoluted than it needs to be. Most characters are one-dimensional. As much as the cast tries, there's not a lot of quality acting here. No relationships properly built, so motivations come out of nowhere. It's flat, has no excitement, drama, pathos, or emotional resonance. Some of the fighting is good, some of the imagery was nice, and the design isn't bad, with some interesting choices. But all the sets look like they've just come out of the workshop. Nothing has weight or age, so it just looks plonked in. The CGI is weak, obviously, but not as bad as I might have expected, though with a limited budget they'd have been better cutting their cloth accordingly. This could have been a simple revenge story using CGI sparingly, and it would have been better for it. Okay, I'm going to get into a bit more depth, which will include spoilers. To start with, for the uninitiated, this is Red Sonja, a young woman whose family was murdered before something I can't mention on YouTube happened. She was then imbued with incredible fighting skills by a goddess and became a badass in chainmail bikini. I'd also like to quickly add that I'm not bothered she wasn't in the chainmail bikini for long. What she ended up wearing was fine. As I say, the director didn't want to use this. And I guess it's exploitative, but that's kind of the point. That horrific experience gives Sonja her motivation and drive, something that's sadly lacking in this movie. Here, she's a tree-hugging wood nymph who has a somewhat suspect relationship with a horse. We don't even know where this horse came from, by the way. She's been living in the forest since she ran away from the slaughter of her tribe as a child. The other children with her all died, and her only aim is to find any living members of her tribe. Then she just drifts through the film and doesn't even get a payoff. The man who slaughtered her tribe and killed her mother is already dead. And she doesn't even get to kill the evil swordswoman who turns out to be a victim of manipulation. Patriarchy, am I right? But at least this character is interesting. A slave turned gladiator turned killer, haunted by those she's killed. Weirdly the same theme of the comic I'm working on at the moment. Sonja doesn't even kill the big bad in this movie. The basic setup: she wanders around the forest with lots of pretty images. She goes to a fort to kill some hunters because they hunted. And from here on she displays inconsistent levels of fighting skills, way beyond what she should have given the life she's lived, and isn't imbued with her powers until the very end of the movie. Yep, that's right. A pivotal part of the character's development doesn't happen until the end. This is the point where we meet the evil woman, Anicia, the muscle, and the big bad, who is a pretty lame, weak and effete nothing, played by Robert Sheehan. There's no weight to him. He's shown as cruel, but it just feels like lip service. I presume he wanted to avoid the traditional scenery-chewing antagonist, but it ends up being lame. The story goes from there, meandering along the usual tropes with no energy or charm. Nothing is given time to breathe or develop. With no training, Sonja becomes a skilled fighter, because of course she does. Relationships are formed from nothing. Warriors follow her, and there are moments which could inspire such loyalty, but again, rushed, underplayed, so feel unearned. And a big CGI moment is over almost as soon as it begins. Matilda Lutz, who plays Red Sonja, is frankly terrible, which is strange because she was great in Revenge, which is ironically about a woman who experienced the same thing I can't mention and goes out for revenge. I'm not sure if it's the script, which is truly dire at times, or the director, but her performance is really weak. She's a gorgeous woman and has clearly gotten in shape, but Red Sonja is buxom, curvy, statuesque, athletic, and has attitude, which Matilda just doesn't. To add to all the irony here, the woman who plays the evil swordswoman, Wallis Day, would have been a far better fit. There are crumbs of ideas, but nothing is developed beyond the surface, and there's a conceit that could have had some pathos, but everything is so shallow that the moment falls flat. It's not the worst sword and sorcery movie I've watched, and still has better production value than most, but completely misses the mark. And that has to be aimed entirely at the director and writer for making a Red Sonja movie that's not about Red Sonja, so therefore won't appeal to anyone. I imagine I'm one of a handful of people who will actually watch this movie, even when it's free. But if you have seen it, what did you think? Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, peace out.